I will now recognize myself for an opening statement. Welcome again, everyone, to today's committee hearing. I want to thank our witnesses. I want to thank you for being here. Time is precious. And welcome our fellow Americans who are joining us this afternoon. Today, we convene to confront a crisis that threatens the very fabric of the United States of America, an alarming and a dangerous escalation in violent anti-Semitic incidents occurring across our United States of America. In 2023, there were over 9,300 documented anti-Semitic incidents in the United States. 2023, the most ever recorded in our history. And while Jewish Americans represent just 2.4% of the population, they are nearly the target of just about 70% of all religious hate crimes, according to the FBI. That's based upon 2023 statistics as well. It's not speculation, it's data, it's real, and it's getting worse. We've seen it in Boulder, Colorado, where a peaceful gathering to raise awareness about hostages held by Hamas was attacked with firebombs. We've seen it here in Washington, D.C., where two beautiful Israeli embassy employees were murdered. They were shot and they were killed. We've seen it in Pennsylvania, where an arsonist targeted the home of a sitting governor, Governor Shapiro, during a Passover celebration. They intended to kill him. We've seen it on our college campuses, where Jewish students report harassment, exclusion, fear of their personal safety, and are even afraid, and this bothered me so much, to wear anything that indicates they are Jewish. I will never forget, we had testimony from somebody that's sitting where you all are sitting. Beautiful young lady, articulate, smart. She was a college student from a big university. And she said it was a sad day when her mother came to her and said, "I think you should probably take off your Jewish star." She didn't. She was brave. But the fact that we even have to think that way. According to the Anti-Defamation League, more than 500 protests sympathetic to Hamas has occurred on U.S. campuses after October 7th. At many of these events, chants calling for intifada and from the river to the sea were not some fringe comments. They were a message to their fellow Jewish students. Anti-Semitism at its core is incompatible with American values. It is un-American. And when expressions cross the line into threats, intimidation, or glorification of violence, that is not protest. That is not the American tradition. It is something far more dangerous. We've seen this from foreign nationals abusing our visa system to enter this country when engaging in and promoting hateful, extremist activity. We've seen universities refuse to take firm action when anti-Semitic behavior occurs at their campuses. And we've seen public institutions respond with statements that fall too short of the clarity that this moment, this inflection point in our history demands. Let me be clear. Let me be crystal clear. Anti-Semitism is not just a threat to one group. It is a warning sign. It's a warning sign of a greater societal breakdown. The persecution of the Jewish people is not a new phenomenon. It is one of the oldest forms of hate known to civilization. It began over 3,000 years ago when the Israelites were enslaved in Egypt, their identity suppressed and their freedom denied, until Moses led them to liberation. We saw it again during the siege of Jerusalem when Roman legions destroyed the Second Temple and violently uprooted Jewish life in its holiest city. We saw it in Spain during the Inquisition in 1492 when Jews were forced to convert, flee, or face execution for practicing their faith. We saw it in the pogroms in Eastern Europe, particularly between the 1880s and the 1920s, where Jewish communities were massacred, homes burned, and families driven into exile by state-tolerated mobs. To the atrocities of the Holocaust, where 6 million Jews were murdered by Nazi regime. And we have some professors in some universities that deny that any of this or that all of it ever existed. History has taught us time and again that when anti-Semitism festers, violence is not far behind. The United States was founded. We are a different country. We were founded in a different way, in large part as a refuge from that kind of religious persecution. Our founding fathers enshrined freedom as a core, as part of our religion, as a core tenet of the American experiment. This is everything that America doesn't stand for. At that time, it was unique yet deliberate to move to do so. America stands apart from so many other nations because it is committed from the beginning to the idea that people of all faiths should be able to live without fear or coercion or violence. We have a responsibility, not just as elected officials, but as Americans, to address this with the seriousness that it deserves, with the same vigor we use to protect our other rights and freedoms like free speech. This committee should speak out with one unified voice. That type of hatred has no place in our communities, and that Jewish Americans, like all Americans, have the right to live, learn, worship, and participate fully in society without fear, because hatred rarely stops with its first target. When we say stay silent while others are attacked, the hate doesn't disappear. It grows, it festers, it becomes bolder, and eventually it will turn to each and every one of us. If we wait until it's our turn to care, it will already be too late. You know, the American experiment is unique. It is why I truly believe that we are a gift from God, and that with all our faults as a country, we are still the best nation on the face of the earth. And part of that American experiment makes this so unacceptable. This is something we thought, it happens in other countries, it happens in Europe, it happens in Asia. America's different. We were founded in a different way. We are better than that. I don't mean that we're superior to anybody, but I mean that our ideology as a nation, we are better than that. We don't expect that here, and we shouldn't expect it here, and we shouldn't tolerate it here. So it's time to move on, and I thank you again all for being here, and I see that you're not going next. I'm sorry, okay. So yes, I never know how you all are going, including my side, by the way, that's a bipartisan thing. I never know how everybody's going to go. I am going to recognize the ranking member of the entire committee, Mr. Raskin from Maryland.
Well, thank